Hey friends, this is Grace and welcome to video number 7 of Use Those Scraps series. This is where I'm taking all of my scrap pattern papers and cardstocks and kind of use them in layouts. So with this one, I don't know if you can say that I've used a lot of scraps in this particular layout, but I do like it and I enjoyed making it. So the idea is to create a scene. I have a friend, she is really inspiring. Coley Bing is her name here on YouTube, and I will link her page in the description box. But she does the most amazing scenes on her layouts. I just think it's so much fun. So I'm kind of channeling her as I am making this layout. And the theme or the event that I'm documenting, just a simple drive that we did through the mountains during 2020. You know how you couldn't go out, and then eventually you could go out, but you have to be 6 foot distance. And so we ended up, not being able to go to church. And so on Sundays, after we have our church at home, in the afternoon, we decide to go on drives just to kind of, see what's out there. And so this was one of those drives where we went up the mountains and just drove through a specific road that we've never been before. And I just wanted to document that. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a border for this particular layout. And I've seen people do this where they grab their washi and they put them on white paper so that it has so they'll turn it into a paper and it has some more body to it, and that's just flimsy. And so I found this kind of wood grain type washi on my stash, and then I'm using the back side of a pattern paper that I don't care for anymore, and that's going to be like my quote unquote white cardstock. And then I've just adhered the washi on there, and then I'm going to use that as my background. I do like to miter my edges just so that they will lay flat and flushed right on each next to each other. And so that's what I'm doing here. And then I'm going to add that to my white cardstock. And the biggest thing that I did here was my idea was that I wanted to have some kind of like look of the windshield, the car windshield, where you're kind of looking outside, and that's kind of what I wanted to accomplish as far as my scene. And then I didn't know what to do after that. Like, I guess I could have, like, created some roads inside of that, whatever. But I was, again, I'm not an expert on scenes. I just like how it looks on other people's pages and just wanted to try it for myself. And so as I am building this background piece, I'm going to tell you that I had found, I just Googled like car windshield, and then found a basic shape for it. And then I downloaded that and then turned it into an SVG file and then cut it out with my Silhouette die cut machine. And I used a black scrap of cardstock to create the shell of the windshield. And then I'm going to put a bunch of different flowers and things on the edges of it. Now, I didn't really use a lot of papers in this particular layout, but I feel like I'm still using a bunch of scraps because some of the die cuts, of course, are scraps. So I think that that will work out. So now that I have built my corners, now I know the bottom is not perfect and I'm not going to worry about that much, but for some reason it just didn't cut out though perfectly. I have 4 photos here, and they were all vertical photos. No, sorry, horizontal photos, and they worked well. And then as I was going through, I don't know if you remember, but that container that I had all these like bits and bobs last video number 6, I found this cut apart that says "Go Somewhere Lovely." And I thought, oh, that will be perfect as a title for this layout. And then I also found those 2 papers that had like a frame, and then another one just a rectangle piece. I don't know why I had kept them, and I'm sure they are years that I've used them. Like I kept them for many years. I don't even know what project they were from originally, but they're going to find a home in this particular layout. So again, I'm going to create my frame here, and then nest that rectangle piece behind it, and then I'm going to use that to house my journaling. Again, the journaling is just that we're on a drive, and one of the things that I love about living in Colorado is that you are not that far from the mountains. Like where I live, it's just right in our backyard, and it's so easy to kind of leave the hustle and bustle of the city and go up in the mountains and just feel the peace of nature. And that's one of my favorite things about living in this area. I need to trim down my photos and my blocks just because I have that border all around. It's only a 1/4 inch border, but together that's 1/2 inch. So I have to trim down my paper so that it will work. And then here is my windshield that I had cut out with black cardstock. And I am just measuring that because I want that to kind of go flush, or yeah, flush right up on my borders. And so I'm going to just trim that to make sure that that can go right on the edges of the borders, or inside the borders rather. And that's perfect. And so I'm going to start adhering it, but I need to cut out just a little piece of the bottom, and then that's going to be my windshield accent, which I really, really like. And then I found these like potted plants in my little die cut book. And so I'm going to add that too. But I also feel like this scene needs some clouds. And so I'm going through my blue papers, and I'm pulling out some papers that I thought would be good for just clouds. And I'm particularly looking for like 3 different shades of blue so that there's variance in the clouds when I put them all together. And I'm also looking for smaller papers because I'm just cutting out clouds. So I needed to, I don't want it to be too big. And it helps me to use up the little pieces first before I go with the big scraps. And here I'm just using my Fiskars Cloud Punch. And I've had this for many, many years. And it's still a favorite of mine. And here I'm trying to see if some would look good nestled behind and some over that windshield, but I'm going to change that and just make them all go in the front of the windshield, because you don't really see the shape of the cloud if I nestle some of them behind it. And I'm trying to create a visual triangle here, so I'm trying to make sure that they're not all in the same plane. And here I'm tucking these in first just to kind of see how they look, but I will adhere them a little later. And I love that the potted plants just add, that plant feel to my page, and I will be covering the pot part of that so that all you see are the plants. But I'm just gonna kind of move things around just to kind of see how it's going to look. Again, I will adhere all of these later on, but I just wanted to visually see where I'm at so I can move things around until I'm happy with it. I also found these like little, I don't know, ferns or leaves, again in my die cut book, and so I'm just pulling them out and just using them. And then I had these 2 birds, and they're facing each other, so I felt like I can use one on the left and then one on the right, and they will kind of move to this, or lead the eye to the center of that windshield. So let me know if you like the scene. I don't know, I guess I had some high expectations of myself when I was designing this layout, but it turns out that they're fine. I mean, they're okay. It is what it is. I'm a novice when it comes to creating scenes on my layout, but I do like how it turned out, and another page documented here. So I'm finishing this up. If you like these videos, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing. And please let me know in the description box below which are your favorites of the scrap videos that I've done so far. And I will see you guys in the next video. Have a great day. Bye.